What do you mean by that?
Well, I've had the fortune of watching Adam play since we drafted him in 2011. He was our second pick in that year, and I've seen him grow. I've seen him play at many different levels, both at junior and at the American League level. I saw the level of leadership and what he provided at both of those levels, and you could tell at that point in time that he had some special qualities in him, and like he's a guy that's earned his right to be in the National Hockey League. He's a player that, he'd probably be the first to tell you he's not the most skilled. He's not going to, break the bank on the point side of it. But what he brings, to a team, what he brings to a locker room, what he brings to a franchise, what he brings to a city, those are all the things that you want, and he leads by example, and he drags a lot of people along with him when he plays and how he plays.
His commitment to this franchise, like you said, your second draft pick and re-upped with the team, has wanted to stay here at every turn. What role did that play?
Well, I think that is something that we probably don't talk enough about, not only with Adam, but with guys like Morrissey and with guys like Scheifele. That all of them have made the commitments to our organization. We drafted them, we developed them. They've come through our system. We talked about drafting and developing and retaining. That's all part of it. But now the organization is being led by someone that was a true Winnipeg Jet from day one, and bleeds blue, and certainly you can see that on a nightly basis with how he plays. So it's an important step, and an exciting one, I think. And I think Adam really embodies a lot of what Winnipeg, the city, is all about. Hardworking, just honest, blue collar, and come to work each and every day.
Kevin, was this all management coaching, or was there plenty of input from the dressing room as well?
Yeah, there was lots of things that went into this. Bones, spent the greater part of the summer talking to, I think, pretty much all the players. We had been in constant contact, with management, obviously, talking with ownership, keeping them abreast. But, again, it's evaluating all those conversations. But I can't emphasize enough, just the importance of the process that we went through and how tough it was. Like, as easy it is to say that Adam obviously deserves this, we have a lot of deserving candidates in that room, and again, the leadership group, of Josh and Scheif are going to be, invaluable, but it's going to be a greater leadership group as well. I think, one thing that, that we've started to incorporate here is the inclusiveness of everybody. This is everybody's team. Adam's going to be in charge of leading that, but, a player like Josh Morrissey, we all know how important he is. A player like Mark Scheifele, we all know how important he is to the success of this franchise, and ultimately that's what we're looking for right now.
Kevin, given how tough the decision was, how did those other players handle it, and what was their reaction?
Well, obviously, I'm sure there was some levels of disappointment, but there was a tremendous level of professionalism, and Adam is a very, very well-respected, player, not only in the dressing room, outside the dressing room, but around the league as well. Like, he's a player, I think, that if you talk to other teams as to who they respect and who they have to play hard against and have to watch how they play on a nightly basis. You've got the skill guys that certainly can take the games to them, but you've got a player like Adam Lowry that steps up for everybody, has everybody's back, and I think that the players on our team ultimately respect that.
Do you have input in this, or is this the coach's file?
No, it's both. Again, I think we, one thing again is the way I like to manage is, through collaboration and through a lot of conversation. This isn't anyone's, one team. This isn't, this is what we feel is the most important thing to help this franchise move forward, but also, important to the city of Winnipeg. And someone has to make the final decisions, and I had the honor of being able to step in front of everybody today and announce Adam as a captain. And again, I was at the table when we were able to have the honor of drafting him. So it kind of comes full circle in that regard, and it's a pretty good feeling for the franchise.
So the final decision was yours then?
Well, the final decision, sure. Again, the input is comes strongly from the coaches, and they're in the room on a daily basis. Obviously, Bones had the majority of the conversations with with all the players and talked to them, and through the coaching staff, and we've met with the coaching staff. There's sometimes it doesn't appear like there may be lots of things that goes on during the summertime, but there's lots of things. There's lots of conversations, lots of meetings, lots of different discussion about how you're going to move forward. But in the end, ultimately, like I say, I have the the challenge and the task to to make the final calls.
Kevin, because you mentioned Mark Scheifele a couple of answers ago, I'd just like to clarify something that was said after the GM's meetings last week. And I'll bring Connor into the discussion. Well, you said that you had dialogue with both players through the course of the summer. You plan to continue that once they're back in town. What was the basis of that dialogue? Are we talking like potential contract extensions for one or both?
Well, I think that again, I'm going to keep the conversations that I have with whether they're representatives or the players individually, private and confidential. But obviously, I had a conversation with Mark here just the other day when we informed him that we were going in this direction from a leadership group. And we had a good good talk about his situation and where they're at. Helly's coming into town here shortly. We'll have a sit down and have a good conversation there. But what I stressed to their representatives and what I stressed to to Mark when I had that, and I'll do the same with Connor when I see him, is that we're here to win. We'll take the contract side of things and we'll put it off to the side here. We'll have whatever discussions we need to have or can have or will have. But the focus is winning. We made the trade with the premise in mind that we were going to add some good players to our lineup, give us some depth and dimension. I think in the choices that the coaches have on how to implement. But make no question about it, we're here to try to win.
So when you say that you put the contract issues aside, does that mean that there'll be no discussions or negotiations through the course of the season once the puck's dropped?
No, I didn't say that. I just said that, again, I'm asking them to think on parallel tracks here, and the parallel track that is the number one with the freight train on it is win. And that's what we're all about. Again, there's things in this game that's why they have representatives and the like, and we'll have the appropriate conversations at the appropriate time.
So the rest of it will take care of itself. That sounds like what you're alluding to then.
Sure, that's what we're hoping for, and we'll see how everything plays out.
Kevin, on the week you announced the third Jets captain in history, the first Jets captain just announced a couple days ago that he was retiring. Obviously, Andrew played a pretty pivotal role, helped kind of usher in the transition and that. So just some thoughts on what he meant to this organization as he now kind of moves on to the next phase of his career.
Yeah, I had a good text conversation with him after after he announced his retirement and after he had his 1000th game as well, last year, and he's had a remarkable career, and he's he, like an Adam Lowry, is a player that earned his way through the National Hockey League with how he played. He started to excel, and you're right. When we came here as a franchise, I sat down with him first. I fortunately had a history with him prior to that, but he was all in. He bought right into being a Winnipeg Jet. His family immersed themselves in the community, and he became the kind of the first face of the franchise here, and ushered things in the right direction, and he grew into that leadership role. Like, he wasn't captain in Carolina, he wasn't captain in Chicago. He became captain when he went to Atlanta, and ultimately here. And he grew, and I think that to see where he's at now, and see his family growing up and knowing that he's got a nice path for a second chapter in his life, it's real exciting.
Is there almost a passing the baton mentality that exists? Like, I think a lot of what we saw in Blake, probably he would say he learned from Andrew, and I don't know how much Adam would say is from Blake, but do you see that that succession with these guys?
Well, being a captain in the National Hockey League is it's a tremendous honor, and it's a privilege that only 32 people, maybe only 32 people get a chance to have on any given year. So, but it's an important one as well. It's something that players, I think, learn each and every day. There's no, you can read books on leadership, you can read books on captaincies, you can read talk to different people and all that, but every situation's different, and you learn and you grow and you make some mistakes and you learn from them, but you count on the support of the people around you. But it really, again, a guy like Adam, a guy like Laddie, a guy like Blake Wheeler, it takes special commitment, and we certainly appreciate the job that Wheels did for us in over the years. And I know that there's going to be lots of lessons learned. There's lots of things that everyone would have done differently, but that's just the way everything unfolds in the National Hockey League.
After going without one last year, why did you feel you needed one?
Well, I think last year when we talked, about what we were trying to accomplish, we wanted to expand the leadership group. We wanted to not only just with the players that have letters, but just with the team in general. And and to look and watch and evaluate. Bones and his staff were very new to the organization, so instead of just making a decision for the sake of making a decision, we wanted to evaluate, and again, you want to be able to give the input from the players and have that, and again, every year is new. You don't know what's in front of you, and as we evaluated everything, as we talked through everything, there was a strong desire to make that decision to have a captain this year, and ultimately we made the choice of Adam.
Clarifies things, I guess, in the room a bit, or?
Well, I think that, if you talk to Adam, and maybe you did, and I don't know what words he had said or that, but, he's going to rely on the leadership group. But, again, I do think that, the timing was right. And the timing was right because we had candidates that earned it, and again, strong candidates that, that didn't get the opportunity to be, anointed the captain here are going to be strong candidates of our leadership group moving forward as well.
Thanks.
Thanks. All right, take care.